So we continue what we started in the last video. This is part 4 of the Introduction to Applied Linguistics series. Sorry about that. So we left off here in slide number 11. Now we move to slide number 12, and we continue with this. We can quite properly refer to these decisions as answers. So I'll just as answers to specific questions. Last time we were reading this, and this is by Corder, a linguist, a very famous linguist, and he defines applied linguistics. So he says that we can quite properly refer to these decisions as answers to specific questions, in which case the process of planning and designing can be broken down into a series of questions and answers, or if we wish to put it in another way, a series of problems and solutions. It is for this reason that applied linguistics has been called a problem-based activity. The problems are solved or the questions are answered according to the principles or knowledge derived from the scientific study of the structure of language, how it is learned and its role in society. So similarly, Kaplan states that the focus of applied linguistics is on trying to resolve language-based problems that people encounter in the real world, whether they be learners, teachers, supervisors, academics, lawyers, service providers, test takers, policy developers, dictionary makers, or translators. Kaplan then provides a detailed list of major language-based problems that applied linguists typically address, a shortened form of which follows. So in applied linguistics, this is very important. This is one of the most important slides in this presentation. So we continue with sorry about that interruption. It was a very urgent phone call. I had to take it. So now we continue. We were talking about this slide, which is one of the most important slides that you could ever come across. It is a slide that represents the problems that applied linguists typically address and applied linguistics studies and deals with. These are language learning problems, and tied to them are language teaching problems, literacy problems that by turn are tied to language teaching problems and language learning problems. So these three are very related. This is a set of similar problems. Language contact problems, these have to do with international relationships, that has to do with colonialism issues, imperialism issues, stuff like that. Language inequality problems, this has to do with discrimination, inequality, it has to do with racism, things like that. And language policy and planning problems, this is has to do with laws, with politics, and so on. Language assessment problems, this has to do with language learning problems and this set of problems. Language use assessment, of course, is tests and stuff like that. Language use problems they have to do with the way language is used in a society. Language technology problems, this has to do with things like computer software that can recognize and generate speech, human speech. Translation and interpretation problems, this is very clear again, as we said before. Applied linguistics, a branch of applied linguistics is called translation studies, and in this branch we deal with translation in many areas through many different ways, one of whom is teaching computers to translate language. And a good example of this is Google Translate, which is one of the most famous softwares that translate human language and tackle human language. Another one is language pathology, and we talked about this when we talked about speech problems, speech disorders. and which gave the example of the king's speech that portrays a king of Great Britain that struggles with speaking clearly and fluently. He stutters, as we say. Pathology has to do with disease or disorders. We have also another example of language pathology is Wernicke's aphasia and Broca's aphasia. These have to do with language, problems having to do with understanding language, perceiving language, and producing or generating language. So the key point, however, is to recognize that it is language-based problems in the world that drive applied linguistics. Kaplan goes on. These problems also lead applied linguists to use knowledge from other fields apart from linguistics and thereby impose the interdisciplinarity. So apart from linguistics and thereby impose the interdisciplinarity that is a defining aspect of this discipline. Again, the keyword is interdisciplinarity, which I can't pronounce because it's quite a big word. So these problems also lead applied linguists to use knowledge from other fields apart from linguistics. As we said, the other fields are anthropology, computer science, for example, psychology, sociology, and so on. So the apart from and thereby impose the interdisciplinarity that is a defining aspect of the discipline. Okay. Elsewhere, Kaplan reminds us that although applied linguistics recognizes linguistics as a core knowledge base, it takes advantage of other disciplinary knowledge besides linguistics to address language-based problems. He mentions psychology, education, anthropology, political science, sociology, measurement, computer programming, literature, and economics as some disciplines in which applied linguists are commonly well trained and draw upon. And each one of these disciplines we can go into detail into how exactly it is used and give examples. How exactly these fields are used, the knowledge from these fields is used to advance research and study in applied linguistics. Maybe later on we will start another series of videos that deals with this type of issue. But for now, this is it. I mean, we have reached the end of this series on applied linguistics, introducing applied linguistics, and I hope it was clear, and I did not honestly prepare much for this series because I have other obligations, but I hope that this was useful, and I promise in the future I will put out more better videos in terms of quality, sound quality, material quality, and also video quality. And thank you for watching, and have a good day.